Hi, today I'm going to review the MSR Reactor Stove. Now, a lot of people buy these. They do cost quite a bit of money. Um, they do come in handy if you need to boil water. One of these will boil water in a couple minutes. It will boil 6 cups of water and boil over within a couple minutes. So these are very powerful. Now, here's the top of it. Has a lid, has a little clip here to hold the handle down. This is the handle. Now the lid comes right off. It takes the butane propane mix in the small cylinder canisters. Here is the top. Here is where you turn it on. Here is where you put your finger to light it. Right here. Nowhere else. Now I'm going to try to make this a pretty quick video, but I want you to understand you can do more than just heat water with this stove. Now, even though this is made basically for boiling water and is made to sit on the top, this is made to hold no other pots, pans, or anything else. Nothing. So either you use this or you figure out another way to use something else. Now this holds 1.5 liters. I can put 6 cups of water in here and it'll boil in a couple minutes. We're going to do that. But there are other things you can use with this. You can use this little camp heater, little propane butane stove heater will fit on this and work. But when you put it on, it will fit like this. Make sure this is away from the can area where it gets super hot. And it literally just sits on top. There we go. It literally just sits on top. That way helps keep the flame down. This will disperse heat. Understand, you do not need one of these. This puts out a massive amount of heat by itself. It's already hot in here, so it's going to get really hot in here. Now I'm going to take the lid off and let's do 5 cups. I know if I do 6 cups it will boil over very quickly. You know what? Let's do 6 cups. Here's the lid. Measuring cup. Let me see if I can move this phone a little so you can see a little bit better. This is 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Okay, this has 6 cups of water in it. It's pretty full. Then we put our lid back on. Okay, when it comes to this stove, you have basically high and off. The only way you can get it adjusted down so it won't put out so much heat is if you turn it almost all the way off, just a little bit open, just barely open, and it will tone down the heat to this. And if you're cooking any other way, and I'll show you how you can do that, then you need to have this heat turned down. This gets very hot. You will burn your food very quickly doing it any other way. It needs to be turned down. Now remember, only light it where it says, right here, where it's a solid piece. This does take the propane butane mix. This has got to get hot in here. Now I'm not sure how long one of these cans will last. Probably not long. Most canned fuels don't last more than an hour. Let's see. So you can see it. Now this is going to boil very quickly. Within a couple minutes this is going to boil. The way these are made, they are excellent against the wind. But remember, if you're using this pot that comes with it, it's basically for boiling water. You can heat up other things like soup, beef stew, chili, things like that in this container. But then you have to clean the container, and if you're going to make something in this, do not use metal. I would use a wooden spoon, perhaps silicone or plastic, something like that. But remember, if you're using plastic, this is going to get super, super hot. Now this is the MSR Reactor Stove. When people do experiments and review stuff, I usually see them put maybe 2 cups of water in here. Now this has 6. So it is going to take a couple minutes, but when it starts boiling, this will literally boil over unless you shut it off or remove it immediately. Alright, let's talk about other ways to cook. I already talked about the heating with the little heater here. How about cooking? This is not made to cook on, but can you? The answer to that is yes. But you need to make something. You need to make a ring that will fit on the stove with some slats in it to help some heat escape, where you can fit your pan on it. And I'll show you what I made that out of in just a minute here. Can you hear it? It's getting there. I'm fixing to remove the lid because I want to watch it, because this will boil over. It is starting to boil. So it is starting to boil. I apologize for me moving the camera. Okay, when it comes to using the heater, or even cooking, this has to be turned down a lot. You don't want a full blast because it will, one, burn you through a lot of fuel, and two, it'll burn anything you put on here. It's that much heat. You really don't even need this heater for this to put out heat. It's that hot. But if you want to keep the heat contained and not just like a flame of a heat coming out in one place, all right, this is boiling. All right, let's get this off. It's literally boiling everywhere. Like I said, 6 cups is way too much. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down. I don't want it all the way up. Now you have to be very careful when you turn it down. I don't know if you can see the orange on my face. That's how hot this is. Very, super, very hot. Alright, this should be low enough. It's still pretty hot. Now, if you're using one of these heaters, I can feel the heat from here, and that's turned down. But if you're using one of these heaters, make sure the adjuster knob goes between here. Whew, that's hot. So, can you use one of these heaters on here? Absolutely. Will it produce heat? Yes, it will. This can will get extremely hot. Make sure if you do, you have a way to remove it. Yeah, that's hot. That's producing a lot of heat coming around and some out the top. This is turned down as low as I can possibly get this. You do not want this full blast because part of the handle, your knob, is plastic. You want to make sure that heat can actually build up but escape. You don't want it going down and hitting your adjuster where you adjust your fuel, your gas. And I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see the steam coming out of that water or not. Alright, this is super hot. I'm fixing to remove it. Now with that off, this is still a massive amount of heat. Now I'm going to try to get this turned down a little bit more if I can. Now you want to make sure you have it on enough to where it doesn't kill your gas flow. But it's literally almost off. How do you cook on it? You make a burner. Now, understand these cans when you buy them. Let's get this on. Understand these cans when you buy them come with food, and it also comes with some type of coating on the inside of the can generally, and you have to burn that out before you start using this to cook with. You don't want anything in there just burning and flaming up or smoking up. It will do that unless you burn out the can first and get any of that inside coating out. Here's the can. I've used these cans for a lot of things actually. Once you get the bottom here, how I opened the bottom was I just used a knife and went around and then pulled out the bottom of the can. The top already open, it's already open. Now to get the slashes in here, you can do this a variety of different ways. You can use tin snips. I actually just used my circular saw with a metal cutting blade. You can use a hacksaw and cut down. And you only need to go down about ½ an inch. I'm just going to put some water in here because I don't have anything like any eggs or anything to cook in here. I don't know if you can see how much water's in here. And let's put the handle this way. Now, if your pan is not level, it means your can is most likely not level. Now, on my can, I did dink it in a little bit when I was doing this. I was actually just going to cut it with a can opener, but unfortunately, all I did was cave in the side on one side, so mine's a little bit off-centered. But if you do it right, it should sit perfectly flush down on there and work fine. Like I said, this is as low as I can get it. Once your pan's hot, you can cook eggs. You can probably cook meat on here. Depends on the size of the pan you have, how long it takes for it to heat up. Now, if I turn that up, it'd produce a great more deal of heat, but the pan's already starting to smoke, and the water's already starting to bubble. Little bitty bubbles, but it's bubbling. So, the thing is, the more slats you have, the more heat can get out to get under different parts of your pan. I could cook in that pan. I can make an egg in that pan. I could literally fry something in that pan. Can you cook with one of these? Yes. But understand, you have to have that heat almost completely off. Now, there's not a lot of water in this pan, so it's going to boil really quickly, even with it turned down. Alright, I'm going to turn this off. Just one quick turn. Literally not even a turn, it just went from here to here and it was off. Let's look at the pan. Okay, hopefully you can see the bubbles, the boils, the steam coming from the pan, and it's still coming from this. Excuse me, it's hot in here. It's hard for me to breathe. So if you buy one of these, basically you have this, the lid, the heating element, the element that uses the gas, nothing else. But can you cook other things? Excuse me. The answer is yes. So if you have one of these and you're not happy with it, and you run across an emergency situation like a hurricane, tornado, power outage, and if you already have the stuff for this made up, you absolutely can cook on this. Excuse me. It's so hot and I can't breathe and it's just catching my throat. So, basically you need a can that fits it. You need a way to cut that can. Open the can up on the bottom. I suggest using a knife. That's what I did. And I used one of these cans. remember the bottom here with the bottom lip goes down. The top that you open it from is facing up. That's what you set your pan on. But you need some way for that heat to get out. Get underneath your pan. You don't want it just solid where your pan seals it off, because all the heat will go back down into the little burner head. That's what I'll call it. This can use different sizes of the propane, butane. I believe that's what it is. Let's see. Butane propane mix. Yes, it is. Can use different sizes. They come in different sizes. This is the 1.5 liter. Oh yeah, it's so hot. You can cook. The key to cooking on this is a little bit of practice, okay? You have to turn it almost all the way off. If you hear the gas in there flicking, like it's trying to stay lit, you have it turned down too much. Just turn it up a hair, and it will ignite back up, and it will stay at a constant temperature. The flame will stay at a constant height, and that's what you want. You don't want a super tall flame. You want something small and short. You want it barely on. And you can cook on this. Now, would I use a nonstick skillet on this? Probably not, but I wouldn't use a nonstick skillet on you know, a fire pit or you know, a campfire or something I really couldn't control the heat to. A wood stove, per se. But in an emergency, if this is all you have to cook with, and you're thinking you're stuck just cooking in this, you're not. If you have nonstick pans, alright, make sure you constantly stir them. You want everything to cook evenly, and you want some of the heat from the pan to be able to escape and not burn your food. Like I said, you can use this for other things. Now, this is going to be super hot right now. This can is going to be hot as hell. You have to let it cool down before you touch it. Please be careful. Once again, let me show you the can. Can you see that? I think it's right there. Yep, right there. Okay. So if you buy one of these, and they are very expensive. We did not buy this. I would not have paid for this, because you are basically limited to this. Unless you make something that is an adapter that you can cook on top of, or you buy something like this, and this thing's still hot, or you buy something like this for heat. The thing is, this thing by itself, just on, puts out a massive amount of heat. I mean, seriously. Basically, it's made like our propane heater is. I believe it's some type of catalytic thing. But the flames really shoot out at first, especially at first. And you can tell by the orange glow. So I believe it's some type of catalytic heater or burning, whatever you want to call it. Stovetop, whatever. Would I pay $200 for this? Definitely not. I believe Walmart sells some a lot cheaper than this. But even then, if they come with something like this for wind resistance, there's a good chance you're not cooking anything else except for heating water, cooking soup, beef stew, water for ramen noodles, things like that. You're not going to cook on it. You're not going to really cook in that pan here. I mean, you could in an emergency, but most time you're going to need something else to cook on or cook with. With the adapter, that's made from the can. You could cook in different pans. You can still keep this clean for boiling water if you need to. And you can still prepare your food. Alright, I apologize. This is almost 26 minutes. And there's a fly bugging me, so I have to kill it and feed it to our spiders. But remember, if you use one of these cans, burn it out. Take this outside. If you have one of these and you make one of these can things, take it outside, burn it out to get any of the inside stuff burnt out before you attempt to cook food on it or cook in the house, because it will smoke. These cans are lined on the inside. You want that gone. You want that out of there. You don't want it smoking up your house. And this is the can we're using. One of these. Just cut out through the bottom like I did. If there's any rough edges, you just push them in like I did. At the top, this is hard to cut through now. You can use tin snips. You could probably just cut slashes in the can around it. You know, just underneath it. And leave that whole thing here to set your pan on if you want to. That's up to you. You can use a drill. Literally drill out holes just underneath this lip. If that's what you have. You can use a nail and punch holes as many as you can all the way around. So it'll let heat out and that whole lip will still be here if that's what you want to do. But remember, it has to let some of that heat out. You don't want that heat going back down unless, well, you know, you're using what came with it. Okay? You want to be safe, but you want to be able to use this thing for more than what it's intended for. This is not made or intended to really cook. It's basically made to heat and boil water. For the price, they really should have some type of adapter that can fit on the top to cook with. But remember, this thing is so touchy when adjusting it. It literally needs to be almost completely off on the gas. And if it starts like, you know, it sounds like the gas is suffocating or trying to go out, you have it turned down too low. Just give it a hair touch. Turn it up a hair. And do that until it stays on and there's no like, if you ever heard, you know, gas trying to suck and stay lit, you'll know what I understand. You'll understand if you do this. Alright, I'm fixing to go. This is 28 minutes long. Once again, if you have one of these or something like this that you bought and you're going, all I can do is heat water in this, or cook in the pan that comes with it, but everything burns on the bottom, there are other things you can use it for. There are other ways to use it. Just remember, it's not meant or made for that. You can use it. It definitely works. Just make sure you make your can right. Do not set a pan directly on top of this. I'm fixing to move this pan here because pot holder, I don't want to burn myself. It's probably still burning. It's not too bad. What's going to happen if you try to set a pan on this? You will collapse it. You don't want to do that. You have to have it lifted up above the screen. And lift it up high enough to where it can get heat up there, but some of that heat can get out. That's what you need to do. And the Walmart chicken breast cans work perfect. I don't know about any other cans. This is what we have. This is what fits. And this is what I used. Once again, you can use other things. You can do other things with this. This is still hot. It's still warm. You don't have to have one of these, but because that puts out a massive amount of heat. I mean, literally, I'm sweating. If you use one of these, it will help keep the heat dispersed more, and it won't have that open flame or that flame going straight up. That's a safety thing for me. It actually, I believe it would put out more heat without this until this heats up. Because that thing gets really hot. Alright, I am fixing to go. Once again, if you have one of these, if you want to buy one of these, I do not sell them. I do not get paid if you buy one. There are other brands that are much, much cheaper than this that most likely will work the same way. You just have to figure out what size can will fit on this lip on the inside here to be able to do this. Alright, I hope this helps someone out. Everyone have a good day or night wherever you're located. And thanks for watching, and thanks for making it to the end. Bye.